Alright guys, let's see if this stream is working. See if the sounds good. Alright guys, let's see if this... Alright, that sounds good. Good. Excellent. Whenever I start a Rails project, I always start from scratch. So I'm in Cloud 9, as you can see. I'm creating a new container. And I just put my workspace name in my description. Nothing big. You know, I just doodle around with Rails. I'm not going to publish anything or anything like that. It's just a stream where I can learn some stuff and whatnot. So anyways, this is a blank. So we're going to create a blank workspace. And then we're just going to put Rails on this container right from scratch. So the beginning of this is always boring because installing Rails is always boring. It's just a bunch of command line stuff going on. So let's see. So we're gonna make dir a folder. I always use my cat's names to name things. So the container name is Fanta, which is my one cat, and her sister's name is Shasta. So I always use my cat's names. Okay, so now we have a Shasta folder. This is the folder we're going to put Rails in. One thing you always want to do is just check to see what version of RVM you have and Ruby. So we have Ruby version 2.4.0, and we're going to use that in this folder. In this folder, we're going to say RVM use Ruby 2.4.0 at Shasta, and it's Ruby version and create. So we're going to create the gem set inside this folder. And now we're going to gem install. Actually, gem, we got to check what version of gem we have. It's 2.6.8, which is good enough. We can always update gem here if we wanted to. Gem update. Well, let's not do it. Let's just be safe here and just do gem install Rails. It's going to take some time. Sorry if you hear some pinging in the background. It's just I'm getting instant messages on another screen, and sorry about that. Rails is still loading or still installing, so that's always good. Always takes a while to install. And on Cloud 9, you never know how fast it's going to be. Since it's a web IDE, you never know how fast it's going to be. It's taking a long time. All right. So Rails installed. So now we're going to install Rails into this folder. So Rails new period. And there's Rails. While this is installing, we'll just wait and sit and wait and just find out what's going on here. It's always nice to just sit and wait, you know, while things are happening. Looks like Cloud 9 is a little bit slow tonight. It's not good. Could do this on my virtual machine, but so easy on Cloud 9. All right, Rails is installed. That's awesome. And now we have a gem file, and right away I'm going to install some gems. Well, we'll install them as we come to them. But first, well, okay, yeah, that's fine. So now we have a project, and some of the folders here we're going to all obviously be in all the time here. The app folder, which has our views and everything else in it. Our config folder, which has our routes, and our database folder, which is going to have our migrations and our schema. And our gem file we're going to be looking at, which we are right now. So first of all, we're going to we need a home page, a home page where we can land every time we come to our site. So Rails, and we're going to do that by generating a controller, which I always call welcome. Some people call it home, or I don't know, home page or something, static pages or something like that. You can call it whatever. I call it welcome. Index. So let's do that. Excellent. Now we have a view for welcome, and we have our index page. We can delete some stuff on here. We're just going to say welcome for right now. And in our routes, we need to change this to root. This is going to be our root page. And it should work. All we have to do now is start the server, which we'll do in our new terminal. And a new terminal, cd, we'll change directories into our directory that we have our Rails application, and then it will start the server, and you have to do some weird stuff to get it to start. There, the server started, and we can actually preview this here. There it is, welcome. We'll actually copy this address and put it up here. And there it is. Excellent. Now we're going to stop this server. Well, okay, so we have our home page here. Outstanding. And so right away we want a way for our user to log into our site. So in order to do that, we're going to use a gem called devise. So we're going to stop the server, and we're going to bundle this gem file so that it gives us the devise gem. Notice it's actually installing the bcrypt gem, which we have here, by the way. But it's going to install it for us, so we don't have to uncomment this bcrypt gem. Outstanding, and we can install devise by Rails generate devise install. And this is going to give us some helper stuff going on here. So first and foremost, we're going to copy this and put it in a file in our layouts folder. We're going to call it the Flash, because that's what it is. It's just a Flash. our flashes. That's going to come up when we sign in, sign out, and all that good stuff. And we're just going to paste this in there. We might as well finish out the file. It's going to be an if statement, if flash.any. Alright, so that's our flash file. And now in our header, we're going to make a header. You know, it's going to be our navigation bar. And we're going to make that file. And our navigation bar is going to give us the place where we're going to log in, log out with our newly created users. Actually, we haven't actually created those users. Let's create the users right now in our command line. So Rails generate devise user. There, it gave us a user. It gave us a model for user, and it gave us a migration in our database. As you can see, here's the migration, and we have to migrate that in as a schema. Cloud9 is taking a while tonight. Okay, so our server isn't running yet. That's good because we need to install one more gem. We need to install the bootstrap, the Twitter. It's Twitter bootstrap Rails gem. So let's bundle that. This will give us bootstrap as our CSS. Oh wow, I spelled Twitter wrong. Let's do that again. There we go. And the next thing I'm going to do is uncomment this Ruby Racer gem. Let's do that. Let's bundle that again. Oops. Ruby Racer takes a little bit of time to do it. Taking a while for Ruby. Oh, there we go. It finished. So we're going to bundle it just one more time to make sure all the gems are in. There we go. All the gems are installed. Excellent. And let's go ahead and install Bootstrap. So Rails generate Bootstrap install static. And that gave us our file in our assets style sheets right here. This file is all we need to run Bootstrap on our application. So that's all the gems we're going to install as of right now. Remember, our server is still off, so we can go ahead and do some things here. Let's see. I mean, we can have our server on, but it's just off right now. So we're going to have a nav. We're going to have an unordered list inside of our nav and a couple links. So might as well put that all out right now. Our nav class is going to be a navbar inverse. I'll make it black. Then our unordered list class is going to be navbar nav. And we're going to have one link as of right now. It's going to be a home. Okay, so this file actually has to come above our body. We're going to put this entire thing in a div, and we're going to give it a container class just to help it fit on the page. So we're going to render our layouts header. And then beneath that, we're going to render our flash message. Okie dokie. That was a lot of stuff we just did right there. Let's restart our server. Let's refresh, see what happens. There we go. Now we have a home button, and we're not going anywhere because we're on home. So that's good. It's good everything works there. Below this, so now we have device, we have a user, so now we can actually go ahead and put our links to log in and all that good stuff. So let's do that. This class for this unordered list is going to be the same as above navbar, but it's going to be navbar right. So navbar, but navbar right, which will shove all the links onto the right side of the navbar. Okay, so our first link is going to be to log out. I'll show you why in just a second. So logging out is the action that it's going to take is you're destroying the user session. So you're logging out of the site. So the session of the user is going to be destroyed. So destroy user session path. If you want to know how I know that, please ask. I'm not going to show it right now. But anyways, so you need an if statement to show whether or not the user is logged in or logged out. So let's go ahead and do that here. So if user signed in, oh boy, we're going to show the log out link, and then else if he's not signed in, then we're going to show either a both a sign up or a sign in link. So let's do that. So a sign in is a new user session path. And we'll just copy this. Oops. And the next link is going to be sign up. And this is not a session, is a registration. Ow, sorry, I am itching something. It is itching really bad. So just bear with me for a second. Okay. Okay. And we end our if statement, of course. So we have an if user signed in, we have a link to log out. And if he's not signed in, we have a sign in button and a sign up button. All right. Excellent. Let's see how that looks. Refresh the page. We have sign in, sign up. Uh-oh. Oh, okay. There we go. Now they're over on the right. Sign in and sign up. Excellent. Let's go ahead and click them to make sure they work. So let's sign up. Aha, there we go. And we're signed in. And we have our flash message. Welcome, you have signed up successfully. Outstanding. Let's log out. Okay, right. So whenever you destroy a path, the method is delete. Or whenever you destroy, whenever you're destroying something, you have to put that the method is delete, because HTML is a little dumb and it needs to know which route it needs to go through, which path it needs to go through. So let's try that this time. Let's log out. There we go, signed out successfully. There we go, we have the message. Let's go ahead and sign in. Outstanding, we signed in successfully, and we go home, and the flash message disappears. Excellent. All right, so that's all taken care of. The devise is all taken care of. That's all we need to do for signing in, signing out with Divide. Now, if we want to publish this to a website, like if we want to publish this and make it, public, then it would be nice that if we signed in, we get an email saying, hey, you signed in, here's your confirmation, please click on this and, go to the website, blah, blah. But we're not going to publish this. We don't need to do all that. The mailers can sit there and be lonely. Okay, so now, the title of my the broadcast here is user profiles and then user comments on profiles. Well, we don't have profiles yet, so let's let the user make a profile. So what better way to make profiles in with a scaffold just to get it done real fast. So let's go ahead and do that. Rails generate scaffold profile. And in the profile, we're just going to let them enter two things. Screen name, which is a string, and I don't know, the city they live in. Oops. The city is a string also. Just two things, real simple. And let's enter that. And this is going to give us everything. The scaffold pretty much puts everything into the project that we need. For example, here in the views is our profiles, and look at that. It gives us all that. And then it gives us a migration, by the way. So we have to migrate this to the database. Rails DB migrate. Let's migrate this to the schema. And then, so that's all we're going to do with the migration right now. This doesn't look like this. The way this looks doesn't look good. Like if we were to let's just go ahead and look at it right now. So we need a way to get to the create profile screen. So that's in our header and our links. So what we're going to have here is that the user is signed in. We're going to have a link to log out. Well, above that, before that, we're going to have a link to create a profile. And that's new profile path. All right, so let's refresh that. Oh, there's something wrong. Put a space in here. That doesn't belong. There we go. So now we have a link to create a profile. And look, see how this looks? This looks like, it's all black and white and everything. We can actually make this look better. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go back home, and we're going to use our Twitter Bootstrap Rails gem to help us make that look better. So the way we do that is Rails generate Bootstrap themed profiles. And it's plural on purpose. And it's going to ask us to overwrite some pages. Wow, did I just do that? Whoa. So let me show you how it's going to change. So let's bring up the profile index page, which I think changes the most. So this is going to change the index page right away. So here we go. Here's the index page going to change. So when I hit Y, oops, capital Y, boom, that changed big time. All right, so we're just going to allow it to change everything else. There we go. Okay, now we can click on the Create Profile button again, and now we get this. It looks a lot better. We get a big long thing here to put our screen name, a big long thing to put our city in. We have nice buttons here. It looks nice. Well, we don't really want to create a profile just yet because we need a way to associate the user with the profile. It's pretty easy. You know, we're going to do it obviously in our project, in this project. So let's go back home and not do anything rash and create a profile with no user associated with it. So the first step into doing this, we need to create a column on the profile so that our user ID can be put there. So in our schema, here's our profile. We need a column for the user ID. So let's do that. So it's Rails generate migration, and the way to write it is add user ID to profiles, and then the user ID is an integer. It's a number. It's the user ID, which is a number, an integer. So there we go. We hit enter, and it creates a migration file right here. And it's going to add a column to profiles, and it's a user ID and it's an integer. So that looks pretty good. Let's migrate that. All right, now on our schema, we should now have the column here on profiles. All right, so now when we make a profile, that user ID should be there. So what did we just do? We just added the user ID to our schema, so now we need to associate them in our models. So let's start with the user. So our user, now we don't want a user to make more than one profile. So this particular association is going to be has one profile. All right. Let's get rid of all these tabs. And then in our profile, belongs to user. All right, so the belongs to is goes in the model in which the user ID column was added. So we added the user ID column to the profile, and that's why this is the belongs to. And then the user has one profile. All right, the has one and the has many, this is dependent destroy. So what this means is, let's say we create a profile. If we delete the profile, let's say our user account was deleted and we didn't have the dependent destroy, that means we would have a orphan profile on our application, and we don't want that. If our user account is deleted, we want the profile to be deleted also, and then that's what this dependent destroy means. It will delete the associated profile. All right, outstanding. The other thing that the scaffold gave us was a profile controller. And here it is. It's written all out for us. And the way to associate what we're going to do in the profile is by changing a couple lines. So here, the first line we're going to change is in the define new. We're going to it's current user.build profile. The build profile is the singular because we have one profile. So normally you would say current user.profiles.build or .create or whatever, but this is build profile is a singular version of it, and that's just because we want one profile per user. We have to do the same thing here in the define create. It's current user.build profile, and that's all we have to change. Everything else will be taken care of. So now we can go refresh this and see what's going on. We can create a profile, and we can put a screen name. I can put my screen name, I guess, and city of Paris, whatever, don't matter. And it created it successfully. So in our model of the profile, it says belongs to user. This is where we have the column for the user ID. We need to validate that. So we need to validate the other things too, the screen name and the city. So let's do that. So validates screen name, presence true, and then validates city presence true. and then validates user ID. Present's true. There we go. All right, so the way you could test this to see that it worked is going into the Rails console, and you just simply do profiles.first. Oops, I'm sorry, profile.first. And then you look to see. So profile ID is 1. The screen name is To Live and Die. City is Paris. Created at, updated at, and then we have a user ID right here as 1, which was me. So that it worked. Okay. Outstanding. So now we have a way to create a profile. But now, since we created a profile, we want this create profile to go away. So we need to go get in our header and change that. We're going to have an if statement again. So the if statement is going to be if current user dot profile equals nil. So in other words, if the current user does not have a profile, it's going to do this next thing, which is create profile, this link here. Else, oops, let's indent this line. And we're going to have an else statement. Else, if they do have a profile, we're going to allow them to view the profile. And that's just current user dot profile. And then we have to end the if statement. So many times I forgot to put the end in there. It just all right, now you saw what happened when we went home. Now it's because we created a profile, we can view my profile, and there it is. All right, so that looks pretty good. There are some security flaws in here and everything. Like when we create more profiles, we'll be able to edit and delete those profiles, but we're not too worried about that right now. We're trying to get to the part where we can write comments on the profiles themselves. So we're just heading there right now. So let's seed the database with some data. We're going to seed it with fake data, and the gem you use, we're going to use a gem to do that, obviously, and the gem we're going to use is faker. So let's bundle that a while. And I always like to stop the server when I do anything with a gem file. Okay, and so let's restart the server. All I have to do is just make sure gem gets bundled in, and then it'll work. So we can see the database in our database folder. Right here it is. Here's our seed file. And first of all, we're going to make users. So we're going to make 50 users. So now we're going to use our faker gem. So our users need a email and a password. So let's do email equals faker internet email, and password is going to equal password, or whatever you want it to equal. So let's create some users. So user.create, and our first thing we need is an email. That's email, and then password. Oops. Oh my gosh. Let's type tonight. And we have to have a password confirmation with devise. So there we go. There's the users that we created, and down here I like to put I just like to put something on, in the console to let me know that it's working. So that's what we're going to do right here. and an end statement for our times method. So that should make our users. And now we need to have the users make a profile. So let's go ahead and do that. So we need users equals user.all. So then users.each do user. And now we can use the faker gem again to give us our screen name and city. And so our screen name equals faker. Our screen name is internet again. It's actually internet username, and our city is address. Oh whoa. Okay, faker address city. There we go. And now we're ready to create our profiles, and we do that similar to how we did it in the controller. So we just go user dot build profile like that. So we're going to have a screen name and a city. Ooh, let's put a comma. And then we have to say user dot save. I think it's like that. I don't know. And end the each method. Each method gets a do and an end. Okay, so I think this should work. And I'm going to put out something. So I'm going to set a variable like I equal to 0, and I'm going to add. Oops. I'm going to add to it each time it goes through the loop, and I'm going to put another. I'm going to put something out to the console to say that these things were working. So it puts. Oh man. Was it created use or profile? It's going to be I, right? Yeah. Okay. All right, so we're ready to seed the database. Let's go ahead and do that. Rails. We're going to reset it though first. So Rails DB migrate reset. And now Rails DB seed. Uh-oh, we have an error. Let's see what the error is. It says Rails aborted, uninitialized constant faker internet. Oh, spelled it wrong. Where's that? There it is. Spelled it wrong. That's terrible. So let's do it again. Uh-oh. Okay, so I see another issue here. This is wrong. Let's reset it again and make sure it's right. So this was actually wrong. This internet email, that said something else. All right, Rails D seed. There we go. Creating our users. And create a profile. So now let's see if it worked. Let's go home. Let's sign up. Let's create a profile. Let's go back. All right, here's all of our profiles. Excellent. So it all worked. Like I said, we can sign in with any of these profiles, and we can edit and delete any of the people's, person's profiles, which is not good. It's just not good. It's not a good thing at all. So So, but anyways, we're not worried about, we're not publishing this to the public or anything like this. So all we want to do is get to where we can comment on the person's profile. And yeah, we're going to get through that. So here we go. So now in our profile, we actually have a show page for our profile. This is what our profile looks like in code. And when we're inside our profile, we want to be able to leave a comment, or like it's like a Facebook wall. You know what I mean? So like if I go to your profile on Facebook, or you go to your profile on Twitter or whatever, I can post something, you know, on your wall that you have there. And we're going to do a similar thing here. And we're going to have, it's going to be comments. So we're just going to put like comments. We're going to have an area to type your comment, and then below that, it's going to list the comments that are written. And it's going to be unique to the profile, and it's going to be unique to the person who posts it. So we're going to actually show the person who posted it, etc., and what they posted on down the page. So all right, let's get to it. Oh man, let's see. So right away, it's going to be a comment. So it's going to be a comment model. So Rails generate model comment, and it's going to have content, and the content's going to be text. So the text, all the text says is that's going to be longer than a string. See, a string is not, it's supposed to be kind of shorter, you know, I think it's what, 255 characters or something like that, whereas a text can be a large amount of characters. So our content is going to be text, and we're going to have a user ID, which is going to be a integer, and we're going to give it, let's give it index, and then we're going to have a profile ID. Okay, so we're going to give it user ID so that it associates with the user who's posting the comment, and then we're going to give it a profile ID so that it associates with the profile that we're posting it to. And that's going to be an integer. We'll give it an index, and that's all we need. All the comment is going to have is the content, which is what we're going to write on the profile. It's going to have the user ID, which is the person who is writing the comment, and it's going to have the profile ID, which is where we're writing the comment, which profile we're writing the comment on. So when we generate that model, it's going to give us another migration, and there's our migration. All we need to do is migrate it to the database, the schema. Look at our schema, make sure it looks good. Here's our comments, content, user ID, profile ID, and that's good. And it has our indexes. All right, excellent. It doesn't do anything right now, but it's good. Let's start down here. Let's go to our routes next. So we did the migration with our model. We created the model, which is up here, by the way. Here's our model, and let's delete these tabs. So we did all that down here. Now let's just work our way up. So here's our routes. So since this is going in the profiles, it's actually going to be nested in the profiles. We have to end the do statement. Okay, so next is our model. So let's just start with our comment model. So our comment is going to belong to two things. It's going to belong to the user and the profile. So let's do that. Belongs to user, not users, user, and belongs to profile. Let's spell things right first. Learn how to spell first. So belongs to user and belongs to profile. Excellent. And we want to validate those things. Oh, So up here I did this wrong also. It should be profile ID presence true. Excellent. Now let's go to our, wow, did I do that? Wow. Okay. Wow, I went back and I didn't mean to. All right, let's go to our profile. And our profile has many comments. Okay, so our profile has many comments. That means if the profile is destroyed, we want the comments to be destroyed too. That's why we have the dependent destroy in the back of it, behind it. And then the same thing in our user. Our user is going to have many, has many comments, dependent destroy also. So what this says is, let's say we have a an account on this website that we're on, and our profile gets deleted. Do we really want our comments to be to remain on the site? It doesn't matter, you know. I mean, I guess we could leave our comments on there, but it wouldn't make any sense the way we're going to do it, because we want to show who posted the comment, and if we're deleted from the site, then our comment would have no poster. It would just be a empty poster. So we're going to have dependent destroy on that also. All right, so we took care of the models. As we move up through our folders, the next folder here is our controllers, and we don't have a controller yet. We need to make one, so let's make one. So it's Rails generate controller comments. And that's all we're going to do. Rails generate controller comments. We just want a controller folder for our comments. And inside our comments, oops, let's see, hold on. We didn't save this. Okay, so just make sure that file was right. In our comments controller, we're going to have two actions. We're going to have a create and a destroy. So we'll get to destroy later, but the person's profile, so the profile in which whoever owns the profile, they're going to be able to look at their profile and be able to delete comments they don't want. They're not going to be able to do that on other people's profiles. So that's why we're going to have a destroy, so that the person who owns the profile, they're going to be able to delete the comments that they don't want on their profile. Okay. So there we go. We went up through. We did our database. We did our routes. We did our models, and now we did our controller. Outstanding. So how do we get a form on the page? Well, we're going to show that right now. We need to make a form. So down here, we're going to have a break. Let's have a couple breaks. So, first we're going to have something that says comments down here, you know. Let's have another break. And below that, we're going to have the form. So how do we write a form? We do form with, in Rails 5.1.2, I think it was, or 5.1.3. I forget which Rails they now do forms with form with and not form for. We're going to try it with form with, and I believe it's model. It's going to be at profile, then current user, or no, at profile dot comments dot build, and then do f. Oh, that there is a parenthesis after this, isn't there? Yeah, there is. Okay, so there's your first line of the form. It's a model, so you're sending in the profile object, and then you're sending in the profile comments, you know, object, or it's like the profile ID and all that stuff in that parameter. So the next line is our content. And it is a text area, I believe. Is it? It's text area content, and it's going to have a placeholder. Okay. And in the placeholder, we're going to say write comment here. You'll see what that looks like in just a second. And then we're going to have a submit button. Dot submit. It's going to say enter, and it's going to be a button. So the class is button primary, and we're going to end our form. Okay, so this should put a form on our profile right here. I don't think it's going to work. Let's just refresh this. Okay, it's not going to work. Oh, maybe it will work. The end doesn't need that. Okay, it works. So our form is here. Oh, that enter button is in the wrong place. So the way I fix that is just put a break and put it. It'll put the button below the content area. So you see our placeholder, it said write comment here. Well, you see what it says in there. It says write comment here. That looks pretty good. We're almost there. That's the first step, is to get the form on the page. If we write something in the form and hit enter, nothing's going to happen because we didn't wire it up in the controller. That's fine. We're going to do that right now. All right, so go back up to the comments controller. And in our create, we need to find some parameters that we're sending in. So first of all, we need to find the profile. So it's the @profile equals profile.find params. And the params is the profile ID. We get the profile ID from the comment object, which we're sending in, by the way. I don't know if you realize, but all these, so let's go to our show page again, which is right here. These are just parameters that we're sending in. This is the profile object, and this is the comment. This is the, you know, the profile.comments is the profile ID, you know, and that's how we're building the model, or the object, is we're going to build the model with the profile ID or the comment ID or whatever, you know, those type of things. So we're finding that in our controller right here. We're finding that profile ID right there, setting it equal to the variable at profile. Next is comment. So this is at comment is just your object. And at profile.comments.build comment params, because this is a mass assignment. So we have a form on here that anybody can write anything in here and mass assign it to this to our object. So we don't want that. And I'll show you what we're going to do here. This comment params is actually going to be, we're going to define that in a private area below. Let's do that a while. So we're going to define comment params. And it's params.require comment. That is our object. And we're going to permit content, which is a you know, one of our columns. If we had more columns, we just list them here, you know, as being permitted. But we only have comment or content that we're mass assigning. So I'm going to end that. Now that defines what the comment params are in there. So now we have the profile getting, or our comment object getting the profile ID and the content in the model, in the object. And now we need one more thing. We need the user ID. So at comment dot user ID equals current user dot ID. So remember when we wrote our model, let's look at our schema. Here's our comment. So our comment has content, has a user ID, and a profile ID. We need to assign those to our object, and we're doing that here in our controller right here. So first of all, we're finding the profile object, which is we found it with the profile ID. Then our comment object, we're assigning it the profile ID right here, and then our comment params, which is our content, which is on the page, and then we're assigning the user ID in our next statement here. All right, so our next statement is going to be if at comment dot save. We're going to go somewhere to redirect to at profile, else and we're going to have a notice. If it doesn't save, we're going to have a notice that says I don't know, what do you want to say? Did not save. Hey, did not save. Hey. Okay, let's try that. See if that, well, we're not going to know if it works for sure. We need a way to print it to the page, right? So on our show page, by the way, let's get rid of some of these tabs. I don't like having tabs up here. It makes me feel like I forgot to save something. So now we have our form. Here's our form. We can write a comment in here and hit enter. It'll probably save. But what we want to do is when we hit enter, hello, Mr. I don't know how to say your name. Thugmuffin. We're doing a little Ruby on Rails. We just made profiles for our users, and we are now going to allow any user to go to any profile and write a comment, sort of like how Twitter works, and sort of like how your Facebook wall works. But we're doing it with Ruby on Rails, and we're getting there. Yeah, man, Rails. I love Rails. I've been dealing with Rails for a long time, and I love it. So. Yeah, so anyways, where were we? We are trying to print out the comments that we're entering. So let's do that. So here we have our comments thing here. So you know what? I love using horizontal rules. So let's use a horizontal rule after a break. There we go. So we can refresh this and find our horizontal rule, which you can't really see in Bootstrap, by the way. This thing here is just... you need glasses to see that horizontal rule. Anyways, so below this, we're going to list our comments. Okay, now here's the thing. Which comments do we want? Right? Which comments do we want? Well, here's a trick. So we're on a profile. This is a profile, the show of the profile, right? So that means we need to go into our profile controller, into our show, and we want to list a certain comments. We don't want to just list all the comments. We want to list the comments that are associated with the profile. So yeah, we can do that. So it's comments equals comment. It's capital actually, because we want the object dot where, and inside here it's going to be profile ID equals, and I think it's a question mark, right? And behind here it's going to be params ID. Whoa! That was totally wrong. So in other words, the profile ID on the comment is going to be the profile that we're on, which is params ID. That's how we're going to get the comments to list on that particular profile. All right. So now on our show page, we're going to say at comments dot each do comment. You could do that too. You could do that too, Thug Muffin. Yes, for sure. Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, yeah, you could do that. Yeah, sure. That's the beauty of Ruby, right? There's a whole bunch of different solutions to this. But yeah, you could do that. Sure. Oh, yes, indeed. I just like to use some different things of Rails. You know, like I love that I could put that where in there, uh, which is great. But yeah, this is kind of dangerous. You know, when you use this, if you like just mass assign this right here, this question mark, if you mass assign that to that, that's pretty dangerous. Someone can go in there like create all kind of havoc. But yeah, okay. So, anyways, so at comments.each do comment. We're going to print this out. So first of all, we want to print the user who made the comment, right? So we're going to make that real small. We're going to have an h5 tag, and it's going to be comment dot user. And so we have a profile, right? Because when we made this site, we used devise, so we didn't put a name to devise or anything like that. We had the user make a profile, so this is going to be really long. It's going to be user.profile.screen name. We're going to have wrote, and then we're going to have the time he wrote it. So it's going to be time ago in words. Comment dot created at ago. It's going to be really small. I'm actually going to strong this. Let's strong this. And then I'm going to make this really tiny. It's going to be small. Whoa, 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 whoa. I'm doing all kinds of crazy stuff. Okay. And now we want the comment. And we're going to make that kind of big. It's going to be H3. Which is content. The content is the comment. End the each statement. All right, I hope you see what I did there. I put comment.user.profile.screen name, which is the person that's created the comment, and then we're going to put the how long ago, you know, that it was commented on there. There's something else I'm going to do here after this. We're just going to see if it works right now. It should work. We're going to find out right now. I mean, I'm hoping it works. So let's say, hey there. Actually, let's go to a different. Oh, okay, yeah, so here's our profile. Let's go to our profile. Aha. So we have an issue. Where's the issue? What's it saying here? Where's ready to go? Buffer. Oh, I see, I see. I put that a go in there. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Hello, let's get this out of here. There we go. That belongs out here. Okay. Okay. So here's our profile. Let's go to a different profile. The first profile up here. Let's just write on their profile. Let's go below there. I don't know what to put. Just something weird. Let's hit enter. And there's our comment right below it. All right, so we're going to change something. We want to be able to click on our name and go to our profile. So let's do that. Let's, this is going to be a link to that. And it's going to be the comment.user.profile. So let's refresh the page. So now we can click on, that's me. I go back to my profile. Notice the comment is not there, so it's working that it's the profile that we want. So let's go back. We can go back to the profile that we were commenting on, and there it is. So there you have it. That's how we went from scratch, from nothing, all the way up to getting profiles, and then being able to write on a profile. Let's log out and sign in as a different person, or sign up as a different person. Let's just use some weird email address. Let's create a profile. Let's go Big Bob, lives in Dallas. And let's go back. Let's go to that first profile and write a comment. I was here in 2017, and there Bob wrote one. Okay, now here's something weird, or something you know, we could do is these comments. Actually, let's make some other changes here. Let's add a horizontal rule here. That way it's separated a little better. There we go. So Big Bob wrote this, and I wrote this, blah, blah, whoever, whatever. Now we want these to be ordered in a different way. We want the most recent to be at the top, right? So we can actually change this each statement. We can go .order, and we can say something like I think it's created at descend, right? Something like that. So now it's going to be in descending order instead of ascending order. So this should reverse. So let's refresh this. There we go. So now Big Bob is now at the top. He was our last person to write something on the profile. So we can say something else like, okay, this works. Whoa. There we go. So now the last comment is at the top, and that's what we want. So there you have it. We went from scratch. I created an entirely new Rails project. I allowed the person to log in, log out, and all that good stuff. And we made some profiles for the users. We made 50 to be exact, or 52 I guess now. We are going into profiles where we can comment on their profile. Like this. And there we go. Now we have the person who wrote the profile, or wrote the comment. We have it when they wrote it, and we have the content itself, like this. And we can actually click on their name and go back to their profile. There we go. All using Ruby on Rails. This is how Facebook started. This is how Twitter started. You know, someone was like, hey, we can actually make associations and write some stuff on a web page, and there you go. Facebook was born, Twitter was born, Instagram was born. You know, that's just how simple it is. So yeah, there you go. I don't know what else to do. That's what my session here was attempting to do, and I did it. And if you want to see anything else, let me know. Be obliged to answer any questions also. The other thing that we can do, which is very difficult, well, I mean difficult in a sense that you have to do a lot of back-end type stuff, is, so let's say you have a comment, let's say you write a comment on someone's profile. You should be able to go to a page that has all your comments. So you should be able to go somewhere like, so go to your profile, and over here, like, so you have all your comments for your wall that people are posting and that you're posting, but you should be able to click on another button over here and say, hey, what are all the comments that I've posted, and you should have that also. But yeah, that's for a different time, different day, or whatever. So there we go. There's my simple homepage. It has nothing. All I did was just make profiles and then make comments and all that good stuff. So yeah, I'm going to close my stream there, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and hope you have a great time. Good luck in everything you do. See you later.